Man, forget putting him in a locker. Billy Napier put Mike Norvell and Mario Cristobal in the fridge.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, reviews the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Thursday. I am Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Giants Country and NFL 33. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. And like I said, Florida Gators got to commit. Put Mike Norvell and Mario Cristobal in the fridge. If you don't get the reference, I hope you got the reference. If you don't, Peso Pluma, Cardi B, put him in the fridge. That's all I'm saying. But Florida landed Joshua Moore, much needed size at receiver. He's a blue chip by every ranking service except for 24/7, unsurprisingly. And look, I mean, it's weird how 24/7 has him as like the 60th receiver. He's right now, he is the 47th receiver on the composite, which is just wild to me. But he's the 57th player in the country, according to On3. It's just weird, like how starkly different some of these recruiting services can be, considering a lot of them kind of cycle through one another because there's only so many recruiting services. But I digress. That's neither here nor there. But the Florida Gators added Joshua Moore, and it's a big add. And I want to make this abundantly clear. Yes, Billy Napier, Billy G, Chad Lucas, David Decker, you added Joshua Moore. No, this is not a safe commitment. And by that, I mean, look, this was close between Florida. It was weird how it worked out because pretty much publicly it was Florida or Florida State. But we've always had this Miami floating around with Joshua Moore. That's always been a thing. And I want to make this clear as well. This is not a situation where it's like, oh, he's not a take for Miami right now. Miami wants the hell out of him. Florida State wants the hell out of him. Florida got him. Very important to know the truth, right? And that's the truth. All three of the big three schools in the state of Florida wanted him. Florida got him. They won that. But it's not over. Florida State will be circling around. Miami will be circling around. Especially Florida. Like, if you don't win games early on, all of your recruits are going to be sought after, but especially Joshua Moore. He is. And one of the reasons he's so sought after is because he has size that you can't find frequently. This, at least talented size that you can't find frequently. Joshua Moore is a height, weight, speed kind of guy. He's that long receiver that can beat you deep, can outrun you when he catches the ball. He can do those things. He's going to be highly sought after. Wouldn't shock me if he was, actually, it would shock me if he wasn't a unanimous blue chip player, but we're still waiting on 24/7 to catch up to that one. Wouldn't shock me if Joshua Moore worked into the high 4, low 5-star ranking. I do think he's that good. I do think that he can be the creme de la creme of your wide receiver class for 2025. And again, the much needed size part is so important. I was on Respect Your Decision, and we said it's not the Billy special at receiver, that the short, really fast guy. Like, Joshua Moore still has good speed, verified speed. And someone in the live stream after he committed yesterday, someone asked, is he fast or is he slow, is what they asked. And here's the thing. Florida Gators don't recruit slow receivers, okay? Even if they're not good players, they recruit fast ones, right? Here, Joshua Moore, fast and good and big. So he's got everything that you need, and he's the kind of kid who can play early, I think. I truly believe that he can play early, strictly because, or simply because, He's got that size. He's got the speed. He's made some insane catches. Obviously, you're not going to be as open. Like there was that one clip of him just like straight up reaching back and catching it. Like you can do that in college. You probably won't be open enough to do that in college, or you probably won't be like, he does it over a defender, but the DB never really turns his head. And it's like, well, when you're facing an SEC DB, he's probably going to be turning his head. So I don't know if you have that opportunity, but he's got a large catch radius. Beautiful. Great to see. And large catch radius, by the way, is not just that you're big. Like if you're big, but you can't really extend outside your frame, if you're not nimble enough and you can't, jump and twist and rotate and catch the ball, then you don't have a large catch radius. It's not that you're just big. Okay. So Joshua Moore has a large catch radius. He can go out there and get it. He can reach out and get it with one hand and lean over and extend that catch radius a little bit more, right? But also, he plays a position where Florida, right now, you look at that X receiver spot on the outside, you've got Elijah Badger this year. You've got Khalil Jackson this year. You've got Marcus Burke, Aiden Mizell. And that's mostly what you got there, right? Maybe Andy Jean, but I don't think he's going to be playing that X spot. Simply because I think he's way more of an inside-out threat than people give him credit for. So you look at that and it's like, oh, well, there's not a lot of proven ability there. And I know that a lot of Florida Gators fans love Khalil Jackson. I have nothing against him, but I need to see it. You can't just be a circus catch guy and have me go, oh, you're of a player. Like I need you to create separation and come down with the ball when you're wide open. We've seen basically every Khalil Jackson drop is when he's wide open, and basically every catch is when he's completely blanketed. It's so wildly infuriating. But even if he's starting next year, Elijah Badger's gone, that playing time behind him will be very open, I promise you. So Joshua Moore could find his way right into that rotation. I'm not saying to start, but he could find his way into the rotation. Playing time's there. Having DJ Lagway, getting a weapon like Joshua Moore for DJ Lagway. We talked about this a ton with Anthony Richardson. You need to have those big-bodied receivers so that you can actually, like, if you're a big-armed quarterback, if you're going to be throwing on the move, your accuracy is going to be a little out there. You need to have these big-bodied receivers with big catch radiuses. You have that. You can have that with Joshua Moore. You have that committed. Like, he can do that. And also, probably going to see a run on receivers, I think. I think Vernell Brown III, I think Florida's looking really good, or at least as far as I'm concerned, they're feeling really good. All I can ask for right now. Nashawn Montgomery, I think he's going to be a Florida Gator. He had he went on a workout to LSU, and then he canceled his official visit to LSU, and it's between Florida and Penn State. And I said this a week or two ago that Penn State is starting to look elsewhere at receiver because they feel they're that far behind Florida for Nashawn Montgomery. Come on. By the way, Locked On Gators, if you're part of the Insider Program. If you're not, links in the description below. If you are part of the Insider Program, and if you've been part of the Insider Program, May 28th, you got a text from me that night saying, putting in my prediction now, Nashawn Montgomery. Just saying. We had May 28th. And as far as I know, that's before any other person put out their prediction for Nashawn Montgomery to be a Florida Gator. So I will pat myself on the back for that one a little bit. But this class is far from finished, even after adding Joshua Moore. 67th ranked on 24/7. I believe you're 47th ranked and on 3. Still a long way to go with this class. GameTime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down the closer that it gets to first pitch, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee. GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets, not just MLB tickets, concerts, which, I've gone through my list before, right? I've used GameTime to go, earlier this month, I went to go see Anita perform. Fantastic concert, right? Right? Bailey Funk experience. Beautiful thing to see. Next weekend, I'm going to see Shabuzi perform. Bought those tickets on GameTime. It's going to be a banger. I know it. July 23rd, I'm going to go see that Mexican OT perform. Going to be a banger. I know it. I'm just saying, GameTime, you're running away with this. You're running away with being my leading ticket marketplace, and I haven't even used another one in a long while now. Same. GameTime is that place. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets, concert tickets, comedy shows, whatever you want to see, musicals. Download the GameTime app today. Create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price. Guaranteed. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever it's the podcast and on YouTube. And we talked about this the other day with upcoming commitments and where Florida kind of lands with them. That was the Tuesday show, if I'm not mistaken, and where Florida kind of stands with some of those kids. So the other day we talked about what's next. But this isn't recruiting, isn't just a what's next situation. It's a what's coming down the line. What do we have to do before signing day gets here? Okay. And for Florida, receiver is a priority in this class too. It is, because you need to add a lot of talent. Like you desperately need more talent at receiver every year, because that's just what football is now. There's more talent than there's ever been at receiver, and you've got to keep adding it because you're going to rotate in. You're going to have 9-10 guys play at least some of the snaps, and you've got to be able to field that, especially if there's injuries. Like if you're going, all right, we're going to have 3 rotations, one guy cycles in, whatever, but an injury, and that's your 10 guys, right? But an injury that happens, you need more. And so receiver is always going to be a room where you go, yeah, we're going to take 3 or 4, because also odds are not all your guys are going to hit, right? It's just how it works. For receiver, added Joshua Moore, great ad. Just right out the gate, great ad. Receiver, looking pretty good for Vernell Brown III and Ashawn Montgomery. I think you look really good for Kobe Howard if you want to take him. But again, I don't know this confirmed, so I'm not saying it's confirmed. I am saying that I think Kobe Howard would be a Florida Gator right now if he had a committable offer, but I don't think he's a take at this moment. I would take him. I want to make that abundantly clear. I'd take him. I just don't think right now the coaching staff would, especially while they've got, Caleb Cunningham up in the air still. Dallas Wilson, not looking great, but Dallas Wilson, if I'm not mistaken, is supposed to be on campus for the Miami game August 31st. Going to be a big weekend. Like, you're going to have DJ Pickett there that weekend. It's going to be a massive weekend, August 31st. Huge. Okay. You need to add more tight ends, or another tight end. Jeez. Another tight end. You got Micah Jones committed. He committed last Friday. He's your inline guy. He's got some solid athleticism, some solid athletic traits that should translate, but he's probably going to be more of an inline guy. And then this Saturday, tight end Tayshawn Gelsey is committing. Jacksonville kid. And May 28th, the same message that I sent to the insider saying, hey, Ashawn Montgomery, literally the same message. It wasn't like 2 separate times in the day. Same message I sent was Ashawn Montgomery, Tayshawn Gelsey, prediction Florida Gator. Okay. Tayshawn Gelsey's committing this Saturday. Yeah, we're going to have bonus content if he commits. That's kind of what we do. That's kind of our thing here. But I think you do need to add him, that pass catching kind of guy. He's more of a receiver in high school, but so is Amir Jackson. So was Arliss Boardingham. Like, Florida's been looking for these flex tight ends as wide receivers that they think can put on the mass and the frame to play in line occasionally, move out wide, move into the slot, move around wherever they need you to move, and still be functional as a pass catcher and a blocker. That's what they've been looking for. You bulk up Amir Jackson, and you've got a killer. You bulk up Tayshawn Gelsey, and you've got a killer. Like, that kind of skill set, that's what they're looking for. That's what they want at tight end. You've got, and this is also the first year where they've attacked tight end heavily. 2022, they added Hayden Hansen and Arliss Boardingham. Okay? Those were the kids that they brought in. Then 2022 plays out because they also had Tony Livingston committed, but had the gray shirt. And so he joined really as part of the 2023 class. 2022, you also had Andrew Savaianai as an edge that then moved to tight end, and it was that whole thing. They needed Tony Livingston come in 2023. 2024 class is Amir Jackson and Gavin Hill, who's a defensive lineman in the 2023 class, moved to tight end this spring. But as far as targeting tight ends, proven tight ends, Florida hasn't done it really ever since Billy Napier got here. Hayden Hansen was a quarterback for most of his high school career, moved to tight end. Arliss Boardingham played more receiver, playing tight end now. Okay. Andrew Savaianai, D-line. He was an tight end edge in high school, played tight end after his first year at Florida. Tony Livingston, offensive lineman, moving to tight end. Amir Jackson, straight up wide receiver, like end arounds, everything, straight up wide receiver, moving to tight end. Micah Jones is the first true tight end that they've added, and that's this 2025 class. And then Tayshawn Kelsey, more of a wide receiver than anything else, coming to play tight end. So Florida's putting an emphasis on adding tight ends in this class. 12 personnel, you may hate it. 1 running back, 2 tight ends, 2 receivers. You may hate it. But guess what? It ain't going anywhere. So get over it. It's here to stay. Offensive line, please, I'm begging you. Genuinely, I don't have like a witty line here. I don't have a quip. Please add offensive linemen. Good ones. And like, I'm not trying to knock the kids that Florida has brought in at offensive line. But what I am saying is that we often see these blue chip 5-star offensive linemen entertain Florida and then go elsewhere. Please land them. Like some of the offensive linemen that they've landed, I'm a massive fan of. Rod Kearney is probably my favorite offensive line recruit that I've ever watched. Huge fan of his. Fletcher Westphal, big fan of what he brought to the table too. I was pissed. I remember I thought he was going to go to Clemson. And it's like, yeah, no, I took Florida weeks ago. It's wild stuff. But Florida has had so many offensive linemen that they've been in it for and have not landed, whether or not, you know, the rumor for Zaire Addison is that Florida backed off because of some character thing, whatever that may be. I don't know if it's true at all, but either way, that's another offensive lineman you didn't add to the class, and I care about it. There's a lot of offensive linemen that have come to visit and left without committing and then have been like, all right, yeah, no, I'm never committing there. You need to add offensive line in this class. And if you don't, I don't know if you'll be here next year, but I promise you, I will be here and I will be telling you, you need to add offensive linemen in the class. I will tell you that you could add 16 blue chip offensive linemen this year. And I will tell you, you need to add more offensive linemen in the next class. It's the key part of the offense here. It's crucial. You need to add more. Running back, you're set for 2025. Waltez Clark, Chad Gasper, they both seem like they're locked in right now. You're set. Quarterback, I don't know if you get one. If you do, I think it's Tramel Jones. But that one's still up in the air. And honestly, either way, like I'll be happy if you land him, but it's extra credit at this point. DJ Lagway in 2024, Will Griffin in 2026. If you add Tramel Jones in 2025, I'll be happy, but it's extra credit. If you don't add him, I'm not going to be mad. If you do, fantastic. I'll be happy. But that's kind of where I stand on the offensive side of what the hell you need. And then defense is a whole other story for the Florida Gators 2025 recruiting class. To wrap up today's episode of Locked On Gators, defensive side of this recruiting class, right now, the Florida Gators currently defensively have a grand total 2 guys. 2. They've only got 7 commits. 2 guys on defense. Okay? Jalen Wiggins, your highest ranked recruit, at least the 24/7 composite. Jalen gets your highest ranked recruit, Jeremiah McLeod. 3-star, who I will say for Jeremiah McLeod, I think he's better than his ranking. And I don't think I say that for everybody. I don't think I'm that kind of every Gator is going to go up. But I do think that Jeremiah McLeod is better than his ranking says he is. I think when you look at his offer sheet too, like he's a 3-star, right? So you typically think, maybe there's a couple Power 4 programs in for you and a bunch of Group of 5. But no, I say nay. Because you look at Jeremiah McLeod's offer list right now, just Power 4 programs. There's a bunch of Group of 5. I'm just going to name Power 4, right? Arkansas, SEC. Auburn, SEC. Georgia, SEC. LSU, SEC. Mississippi State, SEC. Tennessee, SEC. And the non-SEC Power 4 programs, you've got Cincinnati, Colorado, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Illinois, Louisville, which is a great D-line factory, Maryland, Miami, USC, West Virginia. Yeah, that's not a 3-star offer list, okay? That's a lot of Power 4 programs for a 3-star because he shouldn't be a 3-star. So I am very high on what Jeremiah McLeod brings to the table. And he's not very technically refined, but that first step, he wins with either his first step or relentless effort. Hell of a way to be an interior pass rusher or a big end, whatever you want to call him. Hell of a way to win there. However, when you look at what Florida needs defensively in this class, honestly, I feel like you can say everything every year, obviously, but I think you look at linebacker, Florida's brought in a few really good ones in recent years. Shamar was part of that first class for 2022. Then you've got Pop Howard came in from the 2023 class. He was with South Carolina 2023 and then transferred over here in 2024. Jaden Robinson, still waiting to see what he can become. He's shown some flashes, but he was also more of a safety in high school, so he's making that transition, and it's tough to play linebacker in the SEC. Or just to play linebacker in college or at any high level right now. It's tough because offenses have never been more creative and more attacking you. So it's tough. Then you look at Aaron Childs, Miles Graham came in. You could still use some linebacker help, though. Because, again, odds are not all of those players are going to hit. And also, linebackers play a ton on special teams. So if you can add a guy like Miles Johnson, who's just a freak athlete there, let him fly. Add him. I want Tavian Wallace still. I know he's probably committing to Florida State next week. I still want Tavian Wallace to be a Florida Gator. And I always will. I think Florida needs to hit the trenches on the defensive line as well, whether it's D-line interior or the edge group. I think you need more help there. A lot of blue chip players Florida added. A lot of good players in general that Florida added. I mean, hell, you look at the 2024 class, and the guy that everyone talks about other than DJ Lagway is LJ McCray. #1 defensive lineman in the country, right? Who else did they add on the defensive line last year in the class? DeAndre Robinson as a transfer from, I believe it was a transfer from Texas. No, actually, he got let out of his letter of intent. Jameer Grimsley was the only transfer that was a true freshman this year. DeAndre Robinson got out of his letter of intent because he was supposed to be a mid-year enrollee with Texas. Mekhi Boyro. Outside of that, you didn't add any other freshmen in the class. Mekhi Boyro, high ceiling, nose tackle kind of guy. DeAndre Robinson can be that too. And then you got LJ McCray as your pass rusher, but LJ is the only pass rushing edge that you brought in. That's it. Or pass rushing, even F, big end, whatever it is. It's the only one that you brought in. You go, your primary role is pass rushing. Kelby Collins is moving to 3-tech. Cam James, we'll see what he does. These two are from the 2023 class. And then from the 2023 class, you brought TJ Searcy, expected to start at Jack this year. Gavin Hill moved to tight end. And you had Quincy Ivory from JUCO in the 2023 class. Pretty good spring game. See what he does on the field in the regular season. But for Florida, you still need to add more D-line. You should add a nose tackle in every class. Nose tackles are hard to come by, and they're hard to hit on. And by hit on, I mean to actually be good, impactful nose tackles. hard to hit on. Add at least one in every single class, always. That's something you need. But you also need to just throw more bodies at the defensive line as well. I really like the overwhelming majority of defensive linemen that the Florida Gators have brought in recent years. I get it, all the criticism of Sean Spencer, sure, whatever. I really like the overwhelming majority of the defensive linemen that you brought in. But again, the approach we take here is that not every one of those players is going to hit, and you haven't added enough of the young defensive linemen. I need more there. Secondary, I think you need some young safeties, which Florida's obviously in on a lot of them right now. I've said I think Hilton, Drake Stubbs, if you win some games, I think you flip him from USC, currently committed to USC from Mandarin. I think you flip him. You can look at Bryce Fitzgerald. I think that Bryce, his true number one is Miami, but he doesn't have a committable offer from them right now, to my knowledge. Could get a little iffy there. And Florida's been on Laganza Hayward commits July 27th. Florida, last we heard, Florida's in a pretty good spot with him. Knocked it out of the park on his official visit. So safety, you're probably going to add at least one pretty decent safety to the class for 2025. I think you just need some youth in there as well. Like you into the portal to really bolster your safety room. But long term, you need some, even just developmental pieces like Gregory Smith from the 2023 class or 2024 class. Just developmental pieces, I'm fine with. I'm not too picky about that. I think you need more corners. DJ Pickett's a guy that we're going to keep talking about, whether he's a corner or safety. Ben Hanks Jr., legacy kid. I still stand on, if Florida wanted to pursue Chris McCorkle, I think they'll land him. 3-star corner out of Sarasota. Cardinal Mooney, same place Teddy Foster went to high school. They are good friends. They've been on multiple visits to Gainesville together before Teddy Foster committed to Florida. And I mean, I'm just saying, I think Chris McCorkle took visits himself. It wasn't like he was just going with Teddy Foster. But I just want to say that I still think Chris McCorkle is one that if Florida wanted to pursue them, they could. I think right now that they're looking to only take 1-2 corners tops. And so they're kind of like, all right, well, if we can get DJ, that's great. If not, we'll consider other things there. But for Florida, like I think defense, you need to add a lot of bodies. Is just keep throwing bodies at the room until you're good. And even then, like, don't be afraid. I don't think Florida should be afraid to take the, I hate to say it because it's Georgia, but I don't think you should be afraid to take the Georgia approach of just keep adding guys. Even if you take a massive high school class, push kids out. Simple as that. Push kids out that have underwhelmed so far. Keep throwing bodies at the room and you will find successful players. Simple as that. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free rather than the podcast. I think we're going to go live a little bit later today, probably early afternoon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Just talk Florida Gators football. Tomorrow I will be joined by Max Chadwick of Pro Football Focus because they put out their preview of the Florida Gators this season, and I have some takes. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Giants Country and NFL 33, and I'll see you all next time.